Mystical was in jail, and because Mystical was in jail, I think it took from some of No Limit's ability to play certain songs with his energy, because we know Mystical is a difference maker. If Mystical would have came out that back, man, it would have been over. It would have been over. Like Mystical, hands down, is probably the most high energy rapper from New Orleans. What's up, you guys? Welcome back. Welcome back. You already know it's your boy Quay. I truly appreciate you guys for rocking with me, man. On your way in, hit the like button, man. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. As you know, this is We Got to Speak on It podcast, man. And I'm going to give it to you real like I always do. You heard me? So today we're going to talk about this whole situation with this No Limit Cash Money versus battle that just happened. I'm going to break it down for you the way only I can, you dig? Because I'm from the city. I'm from New Orleans. And I feel like a lot of people don't know some of the backstory of why certain things took place the way they did. So check it out. First and foremost, this thing was overdue. It's overdue. It should have happened way back when Verzuz was hot. Okay. The fact that they just put this together so late, it was overdue. I do feel like it's a good thing, though, because it needed to happen. It's something that everybody wanted to see, especially in the South, especially in New Orleans. We always felt like we know who was the best. It was always competition, Cash Money or No Limit. There was always like kind of competing for the spot in the city. So it's not nothing that's unfamiliar to us being from New Orleans. You heard me? So straight like this, though, I feel like the fact that it didn't happen is because of the issues with Master P and Birdman. They've had a long time issue with each other, and not to the point where it was beef, but to the point where they just ain't want to work with, do no business with each other. You know, they've said on multiple interviews at this point that they're just not really trying to rock with each other like that. You know, I felt like it was always in a respectful way. It was nothing never said that was out of disrespect so much, at least from what I understand. He just felt like, you know, Birdman didn't rock with some people that he rolled with. P didn't like some people Birdman rolled with. Master P's out the Calio project, Birdman out the Magnolia. And the two projects, you know, for the most part, didn't really get along a whole lot. But, you know, that was a lot of the issues why it took so long to take place. And it was good to see them boys get on stage together and kind of like at least do what I think needed to be done. Now, how they did it, we'll get to it a little later on. But first and foremost, man, you know, the location that they chose to do it. Let's talk about that, because being in Las Vegas, two New Orleans giants, Cash Money and No Limit, doing a rap battle in the West Coast, you know, kind of like didn't make the most sense to me. It didn't make sense at all. I think they would have had a way better outcome, a way better crowd engagement if they had done it in New Orleans, to be honest with you. In New Orleans, it should have been done. At minimum, Baton Rouge or something like that, somewhere within Louisiana. But in New Orleans would have been the primary area that it should have been held. Let's be real about that. There's no way you're going to do a versus battle in Vegas and think you're going to get the same outcome as if you would have did it in the city. The people in the city know all these lyrics word for word. The crowd that was engaging would have been way more engaged, man. You know, I saw reports saying that the crowd wasn't that engaged with some of the music. That's because they don't know the history of it. They ain't grew up on this stuff. A lot of people that was there don't value the two platforms or the two production companies the way we do in New Orleans. So it only made sense to do it in New Orleans. I mean, I thought that was a no-brainer personally, but they chose to do it in Vegas. And you know, to me, it was a bad decision. But it worked out. It did work out because they got it done. I don't know how much money they got versus what they would have got in New Orleans. I didn't study the books. I ain't saying, I'm talking about specifically the crowd engagement and how people was taken into the music. I already know in New Orleans, it would have been a whole different monster, way different. Okay. But the people that was on stage for No Limit, some of the people was like people that just was there for support. I thought it would have been a better idea if Master P had only his artists on stage, only the people that was going to perform a song on stage that had music to perform. No Limit had a whole lot of artists on that label, man, and they got dope music. I felt like I should have heard more of Mac. Mac is my favorite artist from No Limit, first and foremost. I know C Murder wasn't there. I know Soldier Slim is dead. C Murder's in jail. Mystical is in jail. So they already was short of people. But out of the people that was there, the people that's still alive, I thought only those people should have been on stage. There's no reason why you should have had that stage crowded the way it was. Really on both sides. Just keep the artists on stage, man. Some of the versus battles that we've seen in the past didn't have all these people on stage like that. Maybe a couple of them, but you didn't need all that. And then you got the girl Mercedes. It turned out that after the show was over, some people was on Instagram seeing her on live. She was complaining that she couldn't even get in to the versus battle. She couldn't get in the stadium. They didn't even want to let her in. She wanted to get on stage, and she felt like they didn't want to let her get on stage. Now it turns out that Mac, he said that he came out on Instagram and said that, well, she wasn't invited to perform. So I think some kind of way it was a miscommunication. Mercedes, who one of the songs, she's on the song and she didn't perform her own song. She was pissed about it, but she came expecting almost to just be put on stage when it wasn't in the contract for her to be on stage. I don't know how she thought that was going to work, but she pissed off about it. She's talking about suing Cash Money, suing Master P for that situation. Now that's a whole nother situation right there, but I want to mention that because you're talking about people being on stage. There's a lot of faces I saw on that stage. I'm like, who is this? Who is this dude? Is this security? Is this like just somebody just chilling as part of the group? Because I don't understand why they getting shined when you got actual artists who's not up there. It didn't make the most sense for me, So, but moving on, I thought that the people did contribute to it being hyped. They did hype it up. The jumping, there was jumping and stuff when the song was on. There was hype adding to the hype. I thought that was a good thing to have some of them up there on the stage, but some of them I just ain't see a need. Like they had this one dude, he was like a little hype man, and he was just jumping all around. And I'm like, who is this dude, man? Like who is some of these people? It didn't make the most sense. I'm just being honest, But I thought that the No Limit, the song selection could have been better. I had an issue with some of the songs that they performed, especially around like the middle area. And I thought that when they went the slow song route, I felt like it was just kind of too slow, and the audience didn't catch on to it as well as me and people on watching from online. I'm like, man, why they played that song? P seemed like he was a little out of touch to me in some ways when he played some of the songs he played, some of that slow stuff I'm talking about, So I thought that was a mistake. And I tell you who I think won the battle in the end, by the way. Stick around and I'll tell you about that. But in the meantime, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as I continue. But Mia X, I felt like she did a good job, man. Mia X really represented. She was on stage. She really represented hard. She spoke, she was hyped. She brought that energy. She was the only female, you know what I mean? And I thought she did her thing, man. They kind of featured Mia X for the most part. Every time her verse came up, it's like the energy came up, So she was on her game. I got to give Mia X her full credit. Now, I will say, personally, this is me. This is exclusive Quay opinion. I didn't like her outfit. First thing I thought to myself, like, what is Mia wearing? What's up with them earrings? Like, what is she wearing? She got on a costume or something going on. It just was a little too much going on. I'm not saying, I'm trying to kill her. But as far as, barrier as far as her fashion, but I didn't like it. And I'm gonna tell you, I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of crazy how she was dressed. It didn't make her look like the good looking woman that she probably is. She just looked like some, almost like some type of I don't know, even know how to describe it. But I didn't like the outfit, man. I didn't like what she was wearing. But other than that, she did her thing, and she did kind of carry the tank. As I said, Mystical was in jail, and because Mystical was in jail, I think it took from some of No Limit's ability to play certain songs with his energy, because we know Mystical is a difference maker. If Mystical would have came out that back, man, it would have been over. It would have been over. Like Mystical, hands down, is probably the most high energy person rapper from New Orleans. This dude music gonna get you hype, gonna get you buck, and he gonna bring that heat every time. So Mystical, that kind of guy. Him being in jail, it hurt the tank a little bit. I do think they should have played Morphine too, as well as Mac. They got a lot of hits on that side that they could have played. Some of the song selection, I didn't like it, again, as I said before. Soulja Slim being dead, as I said, also hurt because, you know, they did play some of his songs, one of his songs or whatever case may be, but Soulja Slim is a big piece. So when you take Soulja Slim out, R.I.P. to Soulja Slim, you know, formerly known as Magnolia Slim. If you're from New Orleans, you know we called him Magnolia Slim before he got signed with No Limit. He was Magnolia Slim, you know. But as far as that though, him being gone also hurt the tank, you know. But they did their thing overall. Now I go to Cash Money side. Cash Money, you know, no Lil Wayne. The fact that they didn't have Lil Wayne, I thought was crucial. I'm gonna be real with you. I see some people that are saying that they think No Limit won this versus battle. And I'm gonna give y'all a little prelude of my final result. But I tell you at the end, like I said, some people feel like No Limit won this battle. And I'm gonna just say this: if Lil Wayne was there, it wouldn't even be a question who won the battle. It wouldn't even be close. If Lil Wayne was there, now don't get me wrong, I did say if Mystical was there too. If Mystical and Lil Wayne was there, we'll have a real high level battle on our hands. But the fact that none of them was there, yeah, you know, you're not going to have as much as you would have had. But Wayne, I felt like, man, it was a huge piece. And the fact that Cash Money, they still did great without Wayne songs too much. It go to show you the catalog that these boys got, man. I'm talking about like they got hits after hit after hit, just like No Limit. They got a lot of hits. But when you talk about Cash Money, Lil Wayne is the number one dude. Ain't nobody even close to Lil Wayne. Period. He is at the totem pole. He at the top. He at the peak of what Cash Money, the success that they've had. It's not even close. So not having Lil Wayne took a lot from Cash Money. Then, you know, you didn't have Turk. No Turk. Now, we already know what's been going on. If you've been keeping up, then you know Turk been going at it with Cash Money, having issues and stuff like that. He was recently on a tour, got kicked off the tour because they claimed that he was a liability or something like that because he had issues going on with BG. It was just kind of crazy or whatever case may be. So anyway, no Turk. And Birdman even said some crazy stuff throughout the battle, talking about, you know, fuck you, Turk, you bitch you. I still fuck with you, but I'm gonna fuck you. I'm gonna fuck with you when I want to fuck with you, is what he said. Fuck you, Turk, you bitch you. I don't fuck with you. I fuck with you when I want to fuck with you. That was his comments to Turk, which was crazy as hell. But it go to show you the personality that Baby has. And don't get me wrong, being for those of y'all who not from New Orleans, you know, we talk like that. We can say that kind of stuff to somebody that we really rock with and it not be that big of a deal for real. Like it's not like that. But at the same time, we know he really moving that way. He really moving that way too. Like I don't like he's not dealing with Turk. He's not inviting Turk to events. So that's what makes it a big deal. It's not the fact that he said what he said, because that's how we talk in New Orleans. You can say that kind of stuff and still genuinely love somebody. But again, he following through. He ain't letting Turk come on the tours. He ain't let Turk, you know what I mean, come to the versus battle. So it seems to be some real unresolved issues going on with Turk. And I think that's kind of lame because, again, if niggas learn to put their feelings to the side and get money, man, it'll be an awesome world. But you got too many people want to hold on to their pride. They want to hold these grudges. and it just messes up the money in the end. And it's sad because people leave a lot of money on the table when they can't get over their personal feelings. And Birdman seemed to be that kind of person that's doing that kind of thing. So it's sad to see, man, But he looked like overall Birdman, he looked like he was kind of on that bullshit from the beginning. From the beginning, I felt like his energy was kind of off. When P and them play a song, you could see Babyface was like, kind of like disgust or kind of like, don't get me wrong. It's all competitive too. So it's cool to be competitive. But Birdman said something throughout the battle. Before he played number one stunner, he said, when it came to all this stunt, when it came to all this jewelry, when it came to these tattoos in my face and all that kind of stuff, I was the one started that. I was the one did this, that, and the third. To me, it was kind of getting to a little nasty place when he was doing that because it felt like it was coming from a place of trying to diss Master P. I'm pretty sure it was. But when he said it, somebody grabbed the mic from Birdman. I think it was Tamar. Tamar was on his ass the whole show. She was watching him like a hawk. She was trying to protect him from himself, looked like to me. So shout out to Tamar, Tony Braxton's sister. Obviously, she was sent there just to keep an eye on him. And I think she did a good job because Birdman, ignorant as hell. We already know he's ignorant. And he liable to say the wrong thing. So before he said the wrong thing, she grabbed the mic from him. Then P started talking. P said, well, you know what, Stunner? You right, man. You right. You did start that stunting shit. Birdman quickly said, yeah, I started that stunting shit. And then he said, but I started this body. He played the song Body. And I thought it was the dopest transition I've seen on some of the verses because he literally, he gave him his credit for starting one thing. He said, yeah, but I started this. And then they played that you body, I'm body. You dig? Everybody know that's one of our classic hits, of course, that we all love. So, it's one of them songs again, man. It kind of made a phrase, a trend worldwide. Everybody was saying body. People still use the phrase body right now to this day. They've been using it. And it all started from Master P making that song. Now, I would even say, because I saw on a Tech 9 from UNLV YouTube video where he said P stole body, the phrase from something that they said in one of their songs. So that's another issue right there. It's possible that P stole body from UNLV, which ultimately was on Cash Money label. So it would still go back to Cash Money if that's true, but I'm not saying if it's true or not. Obviously, it could have just been a lingo in the area. Everybody saying body. One man made a phrase, like Jay-Z said, I made it a song. So you got to give credit to P either way it go because he made it a song, right? But again, man, I salute P for how he handled the situation with Birdman because he really was like trying to just like, not really get on no type of negative energy. P a grown-ass man, bro. P up in age, Birdman up in age. And honestly, it's sad to see any grown-ass man that's not on some positive stuff, that's trying to look for some way to be negative, to diss somebody, to cause some type of drama. That shit played out, man. That shit played out, dog. Like we too old for that. At this point, we are too old for that. And they're older than me. These cats that was running record labels and making millions of dollars at one time. And they still do. I'm pretty sure Baby got a whole lot of money still. Because as he said towards the end, which I'll get to soon, talking about NBA Youngboy, he's riding that train. So he's still making a whole lot of money. Baby got money. P, I think more so is on the downside. He's probably making it, but he ain't what he used to be, I don't believe. P's still a hustler, though. He's still going to hustle, selling all kind of stuff. Every time you see an interview with Master P, that boy got some type of like some type of product or something he's selling. So he a hustler. He going to stay hustling and he going to stay getting money. But he ain't got money like he had at one time. I don't believe so. You dig? Baby ended up dissing everybody, man. He tried to get into the issue with P. He tried to start drama when he said that, but he ended up talking about NBA Youngboy. And he kind of, if you listen closely, he kind of was on a borderline of like saying Don't nobody on this label matter. You know what I mean? As long as I'm here, the train gonna it's gonna keep going. But my whole thing was like, what are you saying? Are you saying you don't appreciate your artist, bro? You standing next to Juvenile, next to BG, you know what I mean? Turk and Wayne out there. So to make a comment like, for those who chose not to be here, we don't need him or whatever, however he said it, you got to be careful when you say stuff like that, because you can't say something that's going to make your people still on the label feel like they're not appreciated. I thought that's exactly what he did. He made them boys feel like they should have felt that way. He made them feel like y'all are replaceable. You know what I mean? Like everything that y'all helped me build up wasn't on y'all, it was on me. That's the way it came off like, and I thought that was kind of lame. So again, man, Birdman got some growing to do, I think, as a person. You know what I mean? The nigga know how to make money, but he don't know how to handle himself, conduct himself business-wise. That's why you got so much beef out there with people. People say they owe him money. He owe him money. You know, it's constant things come up with Birdman. Everybody got a problem with Birdman. We already know, for those who know, Miss T, all on the internet, losing her damn mind, going crazy, literally right now, face over her issues with Birdman. You know, that's probably part of her issues, I should say. But her beef with Birdman, as long as as well as many others beef with Birdman. I talked about Tech Nine earlier. You know, a lot of people feel like Birdman didn't do him right. You know, so as a man, as a businessman, he just got some growing to do still, even at like 55, 56 years old, bro. I don't understand why is it that you didn't learn nothing in all these years. So Birdman, bro, you know, come on, man, you got to do better, bro. You got to do better. But overall, I do feel like Juvenile kind of carried Cash Money when it comes to some of the better hits. Juvenile was that guy, bro. I said Miss T on the other side did well, you know, with the exception of them bringing out Chopper style, and also Snoop Dogg. They definitely killed as well. But overall, I think a more consistent thing was Miss T. So I give her the MVP for No Limit. I give Juvenile the MVP for Cash Money. Again, because you didn't have a Lil Wayne with his hits. You didn't have, anything else other than you had the Big Timers playing some of their music, which I thought they played a little bit too much of. Some of that stuff caught a vibe when it was out, like Stay Fly, like Still Fly, stuff like that. You know, it's fun to sing that stuff and all that stuff. Get Your Roll On was all cool, fun to sing that stuff. But in New Orleans, we never looked at that as like nothing that was like none of their top songs. I'm gonna be real with you. I know I didn't personally. Man, they had so much good music came out of Cash Money that when Big Timers dropped that album, you know, we thought it was just okay. It wasn't the song to be playing in verses. I felt like, you know, you got way more stronger stuff that they could have been playing. Stuff by BG, stuff by Juvenile. And again, you had no Wayne. You ain't had no Wayne. You even had stuff by Turk. Some stuff that Turk did that could have went up in there too. But they played a lot of stuff that was Big Timer stuff. And I thought it was just all right, you know. Okay, so overall, if I had to say who won this battle, I'm gonna tell you like this. I think because of song selection by No Limit, I feel like the few songs that they played earlier that was kind of like slow, that was like the energy was like low. Even when he played Ice Cream Man, I'm like, Pete, what are you doing? Why would you play that song, man? That old ancient history ass song that wasn't good when it came out. I hated that song, man, when that song came out, Ice Cream Man. I hated that song, bro. I don't know how you feel, but I hated that song. And I thought that Pete playing that was a mistake, along with like maybe 3 other songs he played. I'm like, this is easy. Cash Money got this. Cash Money got this. Again, I will say towards the end, No Limit did start coming on strong when they bought out Chopper, Snoop Dogg, you know what I mean? Fuck them other niggas, Chopper style. When they bought those songs out, they did kind of start to come back at the end a little bit. I think Cash Money made a mistake when they played a Millie by Lil Wayne but you didn't have Lil Wayne. So they just standing around looking at each other. I thought that was stupid. Why would you play a Millie by Lil Wayne with no Lil Wayne? That was crazy. Regardless of the numbers that it did, the song itself, if there's no performance, Verzuz is about performing, bro. If anybody familiar with Verzuz, if you go look at the Lox battle versus Dipset, and you see how Jadakiss how he performed those songs, how the Lox in general, they perform those songs. That's what Verzuz is all about. It's about hypeness. It's about performance. It's about having those big hits. All those three wrapped in one. You can't have a big hit with no performance because now people just looking stupid. You're looking stupid out there. And I thought that was a mistake by Cash Money. So for that reason, I do make it close. I put it close together, a little bit closer than what I would have in the beginning. But overall, I will say I think Cash Money still edged out the win. I think Cash Money was the better group for the Verzuz. I think they overall made better music than No Limit, that lasted longer, that was a little more impactful, that did more for the culture. I thought Cash Money was the winner. That's my view. I'm not mad at nobody for saying No Limit. I'm not going to debate you. I think it's honestly apples, oranges, tomato. You could choose either or because they both got big hits. Like I say, my thing was No Limit made a few mistakes earlier, playing too much of the slow stuff, playing Ice Cream Man, playing stuff that ain't have no energy. Even Mia X did a song, one of her songs that wasn't even much a hit. It was just some bounce sound and stuff. I don't know. I can't think of the name of the song right now, but I thought that was another mistake. So No Limit made some mistakes despite bringing out artists like Chopper Style and Snoop Dogg. It's just at the end of the day, you got to compare the song that it's comparing to, and Cash Money was playing some bangers to compare it to. So yeah, I give it to Cash Money, man. Overall, I think it was great for hip hop. I think it was something that needed to happen. I think it was overdue, but like they say, better late than never. And I feel like hopefully in the future, whatever beef they got going on, they could somewhat put it behind them. Because again, I think Master P left early. Master P, when everybody at the end was giving each other props and Silk had to take the mic and start talking, Master P had already left. So whatever it was, I think when Birdman was making that comment and he said something slick and they took the microphone from him, I think around that time Master P ducked off the stage. He didn't want to be bothered with no negativity. I didn't see Master P. If y'all saw Master P when Silk was talking, y'all let me know. But Master P left early. I don't think he wanted to shake their hand or nothing. He wanted to do the music, do the verses, and get gone. So to me, I don't really see where they're showing signs of true getting over whatever they was on. But I hope in the future they could bury the hatchet, put it behind them, and somehow, be cool with each other, man. Because we don't need to be having these type of beefs once you over 55 years old. That's just stupid, man. You gonna be beefing in the old folks' home? Or you gonna be beefing in the old folks' home? That's stupid. Niggas pushing wheelchair, one nigga in a walker, one of them in a wheelchair, and you talking about F you. Come on, man. Get over that. Get over yourselves. Know what I mean? Humble yourself. Just go ahead on and just let that go, man. Let bygones be bygones. I would tell both of them, man. P and Baby, y'all are two icons in the culture. Y'all influence in New Orleans is huge. Y'all influence all over the world is huge. Well, every time this culture see two people that were at odds get together, it's powerful because it tells people that regardless of whatever issues you have with somebody, you can get over it. There's a way to solve it peacefully, and we can move on and we can get together and team up and be more powerful together than apart. With that being said, I appreciate y'all for listening. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and until next time, holla at your boy. Peace.
That's what I do it for. I got motion, even though I be joking. Get to the bag, got me waking at 4 something. It's deep as the ocean, been through the fire.